know you drive me crazy, baby. You got me turning to another man. Call you on the phone, no one's home. And if you wasn't for the music, I don't want what I do. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life, yeah. Cause I was sitting but to death. And in just one breath you said, you gotta get up, you gotta get off, you gotta get down, girl. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life from a broken heart. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life with a song. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life, yeah. Cause I was sitting bored to death. And in just one breath you said, you gotta get up, you gotta get off, you gotta get down, girl. You know you drive me crazy, baby. You got me turning to another man. Call you on the phone, no one's home. And if you wasn't for the music, I don't want what I do. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life from a broken heart. Last night the DJ saved my life. Last night the DJ saved my life with a song.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Suey.
Last night the DJ saved my life.
A feeling of love and happiness. So let no one destroy this house. Let no one mess up this house. Only let the people in who's gonna know.
Ladies and gents, Cap Squad assemble. Pablo's more cool has gone backwards. Welcome back. And oh no, Al wants one.
Ronaldo,
Sweet. Thank you very much, Al. What a handsome man. What a handsome man. Welcome back, guys. We're back again with ACCL. It feels as though we haven't been here for a while, Pablo. We've had a bit of a dead spell, but we're back again, all to do it once more for season 3.
Mate, I'm going to say that you're back again, and I'm driving a 50% right now. I am massively on the struggle bus, but hopefully we'll be able to get through this evening. It does feel like it's been a while though, brother. It's been at least 8 days or something, which is might as well do 10 years in Codwell. But yeah, this is going to be a belter of a game this evening. It's always nice to cast over a JT game. Always nice to cast over a JT game.
Yeah, I say big JT fan over here, and I mean we've got a stack of players that we pretty much know here, there, and everything about.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know the teams that we've got tonight, we've got the boys. Let me just double check that I don't mess up any of them. So we've got Xcalibur ESports, KZ, the old Decimate, obviously those two players that were on that roster that managed to get just into top 8, or they just missed out on top 8 a couple of times. I think they just missed out actually. Then Mr. Ben Wilson, everyone knows the Ben Wilson, and then Scotty as well. So that is the Xcalibur Esports roster. And then on the side of Iniquity, we've got JT, Kez, Cruel, and Destroy. So, I mean, we say it every time we have a Super League game pretty much, that the rosters are absolutely stacked. But it's a set of players where a large core of them, we know a hell of a lot about them, and so you would expect on this one and this series we're going to see a lot of good Call of Duty talent on display once again.
I mean, the thing is as well, over the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 months, especially since the ACCL started, we've been able to get it. They've almost perfected the art of like mixing these leagues up to be so well balanced that most of the games have been just an absolute blast to watch. I mean, it's so rare that we get a 3-0, 3-1 kind of situation. We're nearly always seeing game 5s, which I know at this time of night is detriment for you because I know how hungry you get. Once we get past 8 o'clock, you get so hungry that you're like, 3-0s, please, 3-0s. But no, it's just testament to how good the ACCL is, that the balance is just there. So again, I honestly think this could be another game 5 job tonight. I mean, we've got 2 reasonably well matched sides. Both teams got players who've kind of made it to that T16 but Tickle and T8 kind of world. Yeah. We saw that last year with JT, and he had a flying start to this year. He seems to have backed off a little bit, but hopefully back on a bit of a resurgence as well. And ACCL, the actual standings and the way that the structure's being implemented for the Super League looking very, very tasty indeed.
Yeah, I think the one thing for JT that I'm hoping is he kind of gets that core 4 under wraps. That's going to be whether with this roster and this team of 4, because obviously we saw it before. When he's in a good roster and he stays with that roster, you see how good he really is. Obviously throughout the year, he's kind of been pinging about for a lot of rosters, which we come to expect kind of from amateur COD and in challenges. A lot of teams kind of mix and change quite a lot, and so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in this team of 4. I can say we have kind of an expectation now, especially in Search and Destroy. Well, I do anyways, that JT is normally the man that kind of makes those big brain plays, makes those heads-up ones as well. Kind of one of the more awkward players to kill on the map, I think, is the best way to phrase it. I don't think
I've never had any issues. I wish I had some clip of the game where I bodied him twice. My one claim to fame. I was so happy. I actually nearly jumped out my seat, and he just laughed. Never mind. But yeah, he is one of them. He plays off angles. He's one of the more difficult, especially in Search. And we saw it. You remember last year he was being subbed in. Yeah. Like part way through games as an S&D specialist. So yeah, always exciting to watch and Search, and quite regularly dropping double digits as well, man.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, this is what our map set this evening is looking like, and I can't remember the last time that we've actually had a set of 5 maps where we've not had a repeated map. Normally you tend to see kind of, especially Tuscan, Pablo, with we've seen a lot of triple Tuscans actually coming through, obviously when Control first came through, but we've only got one of it in that Control. Every single map is a bit of a mixed one in this one. Obviously it starts off very, very slowly this series though, which is something slightly different from what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a DLC advert, doesn't it? They just mixed it up so well this evening. So, yeah, nice Gavutu hardpoint to start. So, Battle of the ARs is going to ensue from the beginning, and then pace just gets ramped right down to Desert Siege. Hopefully, we're going to see some snipers. It's one thing that me and you both look out for is some quality world star plays, and seeing some skulls being ripped off down there. But again, yeah, mixy as it is, and if we get down to the other end, that dynamic between a Bocage hardpoint and a Berlin Search, that is got to be the classic juxtaposition right there. It couldn't be further separated in pace, I think, out of those 2 maps. So, I'm hoping we get to game 5.
Yeah, I'm hoping that because we don't have the Bocage hardpoint, obviously both our voices can survive it. Obviously, with you feeling a little bit ropey, a Bocage hardpoint would have been a bit harsh if it gets to about 240, 235, and I'll just hand it over and just leave you with it to potentially have you crucified.
My throat would be like a pinhole at that point. I just wouldn't be able to speak.
Yeah, but obviously, big talking point as well, Pablo. We are just waiting, for any of you guys who are tuning in, we're just waiting on the rest of the players to lobby, and we have, how many do we have? We're counting 5 at the moment, so we're just waiting on a few more. But big talking point, Pablo, May, we're going to be there. Obviously, a lot of people, by the looks of it, are going to be there for that ACCL LAN event. I mean, what else is there to say apart from literally get us there now? Because it's going to be a hell of an event.
I can't wait. I'm the biggest diva in the world. I love stages. I love being live. I love absolutely having a crowd to talk to. All those things, man, I live for. It was I love the stage. I'm a dramatic idiot at the best of times, but mate, I can't wait to be sat there and the pair of us can actually see, the players that are playing there, and then we get live reactions. There's going to be so much more to talk about than what we have presently. Obviously, we're limited to very much to what's on screen, but now we can start to relay the kind of actual passion, and we're going to get an idea, I guess, it's going to be great for the community because a lot of people who don't know each other and haven't seen each other
Yeah.
are going to get that opportunity to see who really is the passionate players, and we're going to come away with a lot of stories, I think. So this could be great. And then it's almost immediately followed up. You know, there's only a 3 or 4 month gap before we hit August, and then we're back into the next LAN event from the ACCL. So hopefully this is the beginning of a little spiral of LAN events that we'll all be able to attend.
Yeah, it looks as though business as usual is slowly starting to come through, especially for kind of like with EU LAN, but credit where it's due to the Prezi to be able to sort it out, obviously with the help of VibePay, who have come through and managed to uplift pretty much all that prize pool single-handedly. So you can't underestimate kind of the job that Prezi's done, and all the admin on ACCL, everyone that's kind of taken part. And obviously, wouldn't be the ACCL without the players that take part. And obviously, everyone that's going there is going to have to travel long distances for some people. Some people coming from Ireland, some people come from Scotland. It's all around the place that everyone's kind of showing their commitment to. So it's a huge shout out to everyone kind of involved in the scene, and it'll be a hell of a day of that passion over the desk. I'm interested to see if the players that we see that get as gobby as they do online are the same in LAN. I'd love it if they were. Might need a few bouncers and security guards going there, but I think it will be a little bit more tepid. But it's going to be a good occasion nonetheless, because so many people that we're going to be able to see there we've pretty much just been used to seeing kind of on a screen, a name on a screen. Obviously, all the guys in chat that come into the stream every single time. It's going to be brilliant to finally be able to see them in person, have a chat to them. And obviously the piss up on Sunday and get absolutely leathered, which I can't wait for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm an animal, so it's really like that's what I'm going for now. The casting's just a secondary. I'm just there to get absolutely leathered. But yeah, no, it's a serious note. It'll be fun just to meet everyone, the people that we've casted over for so long, and just put some faces to some names, and obviously just be able to have I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of the competition, we're there because everyone, you know, regardless of what your feelings are, just loves Call of Duty and loves the competitive side of it. So yeah, it's going to be sick to actually speak to some people, meet some people, and have a pint with some people as well. Yeah,
I'm going to be keeping you on a drinking limitation though, because I know what you're like. You'll probably have a couple of beers on the Saturday and be wankered, and on the Sunday you'll be ropey.
No, it's going to take more than that, mate. Trust me.
I'll just see you. It'll be like you with the ice cream, but with Jaeger bomb. Go on,
I'm 17 and a half stone, so the beer and the whiskey go into the feet first and just slowly fill up. I'll be all good, mate.
So big shout out to Moni for redeeming. So guys, there is a new Cristiano Ronaldo Sui noise, if you guys don't know. And there's also some new emotes as well, which I quickly whipped together. So if you guys do want to use them and you are beloved subs, then feel free to use them. I'm not done with them just yet. I will look to add some more and more as the stream progresses. But obviously the main focus of my recent time in between work and other bits was obviously the map. So hopefully you guys like the look of those when we get up and running. But our first map, Pablo, Gavutu Hardpoint, where you flagged up JT as obviously a player who's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Kez as well is a very fast-paced SMG player that we're used to seeing. But Gavutu, you're looking at 3 ARs minimum usually, so it'll be interesting kind of to see how those SMG players get on in Gavutu, because normally when the SMG players do well, that's usually the team that tends to prosper on a Gavutu.
I think it's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of, you know, 2 SMG, 2 AR metas. It just doesn't happen. It's almost suicide sometimes, because it's so difficult for your SMG players. I'm not a great player, but I do predominantly play the MP40, and it's a nightmare on Gavutu Hardpoint. For some reason, it's not too bad on Gavutu Control, but Gavutu Hardpoint is an absolute ball ache to do well on. So AR's ahoy, and it's probably one of the reasons why we've seen Eric Boom kind of more in this more flex role for Suki's Bakery, because it's so difficult to do any work. So again, a player that I haven't cast over that much, and I always talk about him because it's someone that I saw you cast over a great deal last year, is Ben Wilson. I'm just really looking forward to seeing how he deals with the strength of coming out of Iniquity, and he's a player I've seen play really well. In Vanguard, we think I've cast over him once or twice, so obviously looking to him. Don't know massive amount about Joel Decimate, Kays and Scott, but yeah, I'm just happy to be casting over him again for the first or second time.
So Kays and KZ and Joel or Decimator, they were part of the 4 with Higgy and Crookie that managed to do really well in the Cup. So obviously they are very, very good players themselves. Joel and KZ in Search and Destroy this year has been very, very good. So he's got a difficult opponent coming up in this one as Mr. Fizzle for the S&D crown for this one. But it's going to be an interesting matchup again. Ben Wilson, you mentioned him on Cold War, very, very good player. We haven't really seen a huge amount of Ben, though. He's kind of been floating in and about a couple of teams. Hasn't really, apart from 2Ks, we haven't really seen much of him. So it's going to be an opportunity again. You'd like to think that kind of the more AR heavy maps like Gavutu, that is kind of his arena to kind of prospering, because when he was on the roster with Zach, JMW and Dave, that's the maps that he was looking really, really good on, and then kind of on the Bocage, he was looking a little bit questionable. So it'll be interesting to see how these get on underway. And yeah, Gavutu, a bit of a slightly slower pace one to lure us into it.
Oh, you know, it's a weird one. I think it's just that the hills have got a little bit of distance between them, but once you do get into that, once you get into them closer spawns where you've got, especially when, say, you take P3, you're spawning over towards that back of boat, and you've got your other team spawning over towards back beach. It gets pacey in parts, and obviously becomes quite difficult to, especially if you're spawning back beach and you've got that team over towards back boat. It can be quite difficult to kind of maintain a good strong hold, and that's why we do see teams who are slightly weaker get cut through like butter most of the time, and even some teams holding from the front, which is wild. But again, we talk about this time and time again. Gavutu's this weird hard point where you can go 100 points ahead and just lose it so quickly as the opposition chain 3 hills together. It's insane.
Yeah, see that P3, P4. Literally, we're like dripping tap with this map at this point, really. But those really are the kind of the game-changing hills that you look to, especially the more kind of esteemed and consistent teams. You look at the time that they get on P3 and P4, and normally they get big chunks of it. So you'd kind of expect a similar situation here with whichever team has got that control of P3, because normally we tend to see quite a few teams as well have moments where they get a lot of time on P3, but then subsequently they look a little bit questionably on the P4. So it's going to be one where we'll have to see how both teams kind of fare up, and where do they commit to, where do they allow teams to get chunks of time, and kind of go which way do you try and go for it. It's a difficult one sometimes on Gavutu to call.
Yeah, I think it's just maintain the contest more than anything else, especially on P4. We know P1 is going to be contest heavy from the outset. And we know, generally speaking, the team that spawns over towards that left-hand side of the beach is going to get potentially a good chunk of time. And obviously, Iniquity are that team right now. It looks like they push right through and getting that P1 control. But, Major, you've got to look at P4 as being, if you're not able to get control of it, if you've got a great chunk of time on P3, at least, the very least you can do is contest to make sure that you're not letting that time drip away and not letting them get back up. Right now, 20 solid seconds from Iniquity. So out the box, we've got Big J Tizzle himself on a 2-0. Cruel, a player I haven't cast over before as well. No. Major playing really well so far on a 3 streak, and Major there, Iniquity boys just lining up for a 6 streak as a team.
Yeah, it looks like there's a big 1-on-1 currently going on over towards that new hill. Obviously hasn't popped just yet, but Iniquity have bought themselves a really big cushion at the moment. And Destroy is going to get shot in the back though. KZ is going to take him down, so a man who we'll have to keep an eye on this series, because he can tend to pop off, and there's a couple of kills right off the rip. And look at the third onto Cruel as well. He's just going to try and play his life, but his ankles are going to get the better of him as he gets shot there. KZ really starting to heat up a little bit now, and all the shots into Destroyer, they're going to be good enough. Not quite on that occasion. So Xcalibur looking to try and claw their way back into this game early on here, as that lead is slowly starting to be pushed out once again. Scotty as well, currently struggling at the moment. He's going to do his job though and just hop on towards the hill, soak up a bit of time. But this is the point, Pablo. With 30 seconds remaining on this one, you can already see kind of that red arrow and Cruel. He's over towards that new hill while the boys in purple try and mop up a bit more scrap time.
I mean, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? If you're going to lose an enormous amount of time on P1, you're going to battle very hard for maximum time over towards P2. And what's that meant to Excalibur? Well, they just fought for scrap time, and it's allowed Iniquity to just back over to P3, get a little bit of control. And this is a worrying moment. You've talked about it earlier on. Despite it only being 6 seconds, that is a beautiful setup right there from Iniquity, watching down as many lanes as possible. If they get this first wipe right now, they could get themselves a free 35 seconds, and then do the problem that Excalibur have got is, if they do get that hold and allow Excalibur then to push onto them at 25 seconds, they're going to spawn out over to P4 and get themselves a potential another free 30. So nice play so far. Big stuff coming out to Destroy. They're 8-4 on a 3 streak. Not a great deal of time, but dropping bodies like he should do.
Yeah, and he's doing exactly what he needs to, really, as JT. We know him as being a man who is always in the hill time, and he's doing a really good job here on this money. He'll just keeping his head down and Destroy, just watching over the top of him. Into turret mode he goes and chews through another couple of players. There is still going to be another man on his right. I'm not quite sure if he's going to spot him though, and that's actually quite a big kill there. So Casey's going to manage to take him off of streaks. No glide bomb. We know the impact that those glide bombs can have, but over towards the next hill already, Pablo, you can see those red arrows. They've played the rotation well. They've got a huge chunk of time, and Ben with the Volk, which is a gun we do not see that often. He's currently doing all right at the moment, but you can see obviously the main player that you would flag up, Scotty, really struggling at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if Scotty, we saw him jump onto that P2 and thought, oh, maybe if he's not going to get kills, he's going to look to get some time. Well, unfortunately, getting neither right now, hugely on the struggle bus. Put the deck chair up on the beach, and he's really not getting involved at all. But right there, a big kill for Ben Wilson towards the back. And I did see a few tweets go out earlier in the week about potential triple Volk metas. I thought it was a joke, honestly, but right there, we're seeing Ben Wilson just pulling out that little bit of a change. Maybe it's something different, and it'll throw the cat among the pigeons. Right now, though, Major Nat 10 and 8. Ben Wilson going off, and he's Vulcan all over the show right now. But a huge place. They brought it back to within about 50 seconds. But again, Iniquity just looking very solid across P3 and P4 as we head into potentially, the very end of this first rotation.
Yeah, so a 40-second deficit once again for Xcalibur to work their way into already. Those players racing over towards the new hill, and Casey will do a good job to stay alive here as he's going to fall. So another kill coming on there, but destroy 14 and 6 out of the gates here. And there's another one for Joel, who's going to slowly start to work his way down this left-hand side. But already you can see the lanes that Iniquity Esports are just pushing out at the moment. They're not even allowing the boys of Xcalibur to get anywhere near the hill at the moment. Another kill comes through there from Crawl. You can see on the minimap, though, Ben, again, is going to be going all the way around the back. He will have a bit of help as those players start to spawn up on him, as number 8, Kez, is now going to do a good job to stay alive in the hill. And now big moments coming up here for the boys of Xcalibur. They need a decent amount of time potentially off of this remaining hill, but Crawl manages to pick off one. Ben's still alive and still lurking, but they are really struggling just to try and get their way in towards this hill.
Yeah, absolutely. They had a beautiful opportunity just to flood the hill, and they've decided against it. I'm just not sure they haven't got the information required to really get the shots and really start to get the angles. And now they're having to basically chalk it. They're going to get some scrap time again, but they've left themselves in this almost 70-point deficit, which is a huge amount, especially going into P2. Now, we do see some teams able to string together. This is a great opportunity, though. Unfortunately, it is Destroy going to drop Decimate. Now, Joel wins that fight. That is huge right there. They can get P1 control. They can cover the lanes, and they can start to get back into control of this game. I haven't been able to do it, and has been a bit of a one-man banjo right now. Well, two-man K's and Ben W doing really, really well so far on the kills, but you can see across the board, not one player pushing out to the minutes. We've got Scotty on the most, but he's struggling so heavily in terms of kills. It's just holding the Xcalibur boys back ever so slightly, and Major and Iniquity back onto P1. They are going to get dealt with again. Looking a lot better, though, for the boys in purple as we hit the first hill in this second rotation.
Yeah, I think these next kills are going to be make or break potentially for them on this one. Destroy gets another couple of kills. He's looking for potentially another one.
Ben Wilson.
He's finally going to cut him down, and bonk on the head though, but JT replies with one of his own and manages to take him down. So again, the scrap time going in favour of the team in red. These next kills are big though. Scotty been really struggling at the moment, but can he manage to at least command a bit of control here? That's better from Scotty. A couple of kills coming through for him will allow his teammates to work their way over towards that boat. He does have Joel just watching this right-hand lane, but you can already see those red arrows of Iniquity. They're going to slowly start to flood him out, and there's one pick for them. Ben going to try and reinforce those players in towards the hill because they are starting to flood in towards it. Crawl is going to be up top, but his teammate in JT will fall. Crawl going to go for the chow. Ben, new meta question mark. Ben with another big couple of kills with that Volk, and he's going to manage to allow his team to get some much-needed seconds.
Yeah, huge plays by Ben Wilson again, almost single-handedly, although Kay is playing well as well, just trying to keep his team up in the kills and the slaying field at the very least right now, though. Again, Iniquity Esports just looking to cut through them like butter, and it's just, it's been once too often, Major, that these boys from Iniquity have just had hill control for kind of like an inordinate amount of time, and every time they get kills, they're at the very least turning it into good quality time. Right now, they've extended that lead even further, very, very close to the 90-second mark. Finally see the boys in purple get some control, but it is for the smallest amount of scrap time. And as we hit back into this P3 on the second rotation, it's the boys in red who are still in control. And mate, you've got to look at Destroy. 22 and 14, those interactions as well as 35 seconds. It's just such an opposition to the way Scotty's been playing.
Yeah, and KZ, that is an enormous kill there in the grander scheme of things for this map. But Destroy again, the man is ever present on Gavutu as he's finally going to fall. So there is going to be a little bit of a standoff there to potentially who pushes down. Kez is going to try and edge his way up, but no avail on that one. And now KZ going to get back on towards the hill once again. Is just going to look to try and get himself tucked into boat and allow his teammates just to do the work all around him. And it looks as though they will do just about enough to hold the players down. And Ben, woohoo, liquid on the map. You don't see that much often from the stiffest of Ben Wilsons. No, I'm joking, Ben. He'll hate me for saying that on stream, but he's good movement there, good kill, and the boys in purple are going to get that scrap time. But again, Pablo Iniquity just kind of playing the long game, kind of playing it smart with that cushion of time as they rotate. They're ready to go for the next hill, so it's going to be down to an Xcalibur break. But I'll tell you what, Mr. Benny Wilson is looking like a bit of a menace at the moment.
Yeah, playing over to beat you, just fell asleep, JT, just on his phone, or who knows what he was thinking, but he got absolutely dealt with. And right now, Ben Wilson is an absolute monster on the map, terrorizing the Iniquity Esports, bringing his back again to around about 50, maybe 60 points now, but huge plays, and he gave his team such a good opportunity to push in, and they've been so slow to respond. He must be absolutely fuming. He gets 3 kills, he drops players who are practically asleep, and they're still not letting them on kill. That is a free 30 seconds right there for Iniquity Esports that Xcalibur just have not taken advantage of. Right now, this has been a bit of a battle over towards the back, but again, it is Iniquity who just look very strong. Nice break eventually, but the heroics of Ben Wilson, Major 27 and 18, having to drop 3 and 4 players almost on his own is not really an efficient or acceptable way to try and win a hard point on Gavutu.
Yeah, and now with 20 seconds remaining, or so, 27 to be precise for Iniquity, they've now got Kez just keeping his head down, and when you look at the slaying, really, apart from Destroy and Cruel, it's kind of really even across the board, I suppose you would say. Ben, obviously, with some big moments there, but now New Hill pops, and this is where they're going to have to be quick here at Xcalibur. They can't afford to play this one patiently any longer, because at the moment they are getting cut down one at a time. There's another one for Kez. Those purple arrows, they need to get over towards that hill quickly. Only 15 seconds remaining before this map one is complete. Kez, has he been spotted there by Ben? Can he manage to make the worldy play right at the end? They will manage to take the man off the hill, and there's another kill to mop them up. So the purple arrows are in. They're managing to get those kills. Woohoo! And Ben rips the head clean off of Kez on that one with the Volk. I might have to give this gonna go in pubs later on, because at the moment he is ripping heads off of it. But Iniquity, Pablo, this is where it becomes difficult for Xcalibur. They only need 11 seconds. All they need really much is kind of a trickle of time from the next potential couple of hills.
Yeah, I think, you know, if the boys from Xcalibur can have almost a repeat performance of that second rotation P1, they might actually be able to throw the cat among the pigeons here, but I don't think that's going to be a case. I think we can see already some lanes being covered. They haven't got total control of P1. You can see that fight just going down towards as Decimate drops Kez, so this is going to be important one-on-one gunfights, particularly for Iniquity if they want to do the business on this hill. 10 seconds remaining, and Major, no offense to you, but I definitely think the Volk in Ben Wilson's hand has been a revelation this evening. Iniquity do look to get control, and there's going to be a contest towards the end. We see those players try and get in again. It is going to be Kays who falls with Decimator with a last gasp, try and save a P1, and they've got control of Major. They're trying to do the best. Now they only need 35s. They can still win it from here.
Yeah, the nades are going to be pivotal here. Ben's going to look to try and push out this right-hand lane here. He's got to be careful not to overextend as he gets taken down. So now first kill goes either way. One for each team, but Decimator with an important kill. And now, oh my goodness, Iniquity, are they letting this one slip? These next kills are huge. Kez, can he make the play? Destroy manages to get a pick, but this next kill's huge, and Casey managed to get it. He's not going to get the one. And Cruel comes through with 2 enormous kills, and that is going to be exactly what they needed him to do right at the end. He comes through with massive kills, and Iniquity, blimey, they breathe a sigh of relief there, Pablo, because that one got a little bit closer than expected.
Mate, this is what we talk about Gavutu hardpoint. You're chasing the game for like 2.5 hills, and then you string 2 good hills together and nearly win the game. That is why Gavutu hardpoint is actually insane. 23 non-traded kills for Ben Wilson. Ben Wilson and Destroy going absolutely off in that map, but in the end, in a game at some points where they were 80 to 90 seconds behind, they bring it back to like 14 seconds or 12 seconds or something. Insanely close scoreline, and that's why we kind of like, you know, as viewers and casters, love Gavutu hardpoint. Not great for the players though, but interesting again. Ben Wilson just shaking things up with a different meta, but again, wild plays. It doesn't matter how well you do, you've got to stay absolutely on fire in that map. It's crazy.
Yeah, and a quick shout as well to Draper down. Is it Danavelli? Thank you very much, and Blues for the follows. And oh no, George wants a Pablo T. I won't do you dirty, Pablo. Can your voice do it or no?
You know, George has got to be like mine and your longest follower, so he's got to get the Zoo. Apologies, I am literally dying. Zoo.
There you go, George. The Stu comes through. Thank you very much, mate.
One.
But yeah, map 1 is done and dusted. Obviously, now we go to another slow pace one, Pablo. But to be fair, for a Gavutu, that felt quick in paces of it. There was a lot of important gunfights that Iniquity towards the later end of it, definitely managed to win. But Xcalibur, we kind of saw a bit of a slow start, bit of a kind of a mediocre middle ground, but unfortunately they just kind of gave themselves a little bit too much to do, it felt like, because they had phases in that one where you feel if they just got a little bit more time, like we saw Ben kind of when he went on that bit of a rogue tear towards the end of a couple of those hills on P4, I believe. They just weren't able to get the time, so give a couple of seconds here or there on a couple of the hills, and that map could have been theirs.
Well, I mean, the factors right there are that Scotty gets a really slow start to the game. He's not picking up a lot of kills. He's not getting any time, because when he is getting on the hill, he's getting almost immediately gunned down. Now, we talked about how slow Gavutu can be, but right now, when you're looking at rotations and both teams looking to rotate around 15 seconds, the game kind of feels a lot faster than it does normally. So we see these fast rotations. We see, especially, P3 to P4 was just not that normal trudge across map, because there's so much transition going on, because we did see first two rotations, Iniquity sending players over to P4 early doors, and then the boys from Excalibur having to cut through. Now, towards the end of the second rotation, they started very slowly but surely to come through, but again, just heavily reliant on Kays and Ben Wilson to do the work. Scotty finally getting in among the kills, but again, just too much of a gap. 90 seconds, insane gap to try and recover. We're not talking about a Toronto Ultra here. This is just too much of a gap to try and recover against someone like JT and Destroy, who were just cruel at the end, who manages to save the day, which is a cruel blow to the boys from Excalibur, but huge as he gets in there. And if I say to you, Major, partway through that second rotation, this is going to be a map that ends with 12-second difference, you're going to laugh in your face, because there's a 90-second gap. So it just goes to show, if you're able to especially warm up prior to especially the second rotation, warm up, get your shots on point, then you're going to be able to bring that gap a little bit closer and potentially take over, but too little too late for them.
Yes, no. We are now going to load into our map number 2 for the Desert Siege Search and Destroy. And I suppose another factor as well, Pablo, was Destroy, especially at the start of that middle portion of the game. He was absolutely smashing a few of those players of Excalibur, kind of left, right and centre, and then as soon as he started just to kind of slow down a little bit, I think that's when we kind of saw the swing in points, really. It felt as though Excalibur kind of took a while to, get warmed up, but now going into another slow-paced Search and Destroy, so it'll be interesting to see if Destroy can have another good map here and another strong start here to potentially kind of get his team a bit of an early cushion here in the Search and Destroy, because like we talk about it all the time, as soon as you start to see kind of some of these teams go 3, 4, 5 rounds up, that's when you do start to worry for some of them.
Yeah, and obviously I would suggest, we can, I don't know a great deal about Excalibur's team, but Iniquity have got, solid S&D players. They're a reliable bunch of 4. So this will be interesting. We see Ben absolutely carrying that form on that laser beam as he destroys, I don't even know who he first blood, JT, takes him straight out. And that could be huge, the bombs planted, JT's down. There's kind of your in-game S&D legend right there, and he's already into round 2. Kez on the defuse, though, and it is going to be another shoot as Cruel manages to drop Scotty and Major as we hit the 30-second mark. It's 3v3.
Oh, he takes him off the bomb just about. So now Ben left in a 1 versus 2. He's going to get some bullets into Cruel. But again, you can see the man on the defuse. Destroy is not messing around. He does exactly what we flag up players should be doing all the time. And he just gets that defuse through. He gets the first round on the board. A bit of a scrappy first round there as far as Desert Siege goes. It was kind of one where we got that first pick and then it kind of went here, there and everywhere. But a good round nonetheless for the boys. Straight on the board they go.
Site control, mate. Absolutely no bomb site control. Like the entire focus was to get bomb down, but again, they just went in a position to defend it. They didn't have any kind of field control. They were no one outright, no one watching that kind of long side. Everyone just pushed kind of over towards middle, over towards train side. So without the bomb site control, the players just able to get the defuse on straight away. So at least Destroy now just going to make his way over towards that right-hand side. And you can already see just how close some of these players are to getting picked off. You think he's just seen an elbow. We see the snipe go down, a little snipe off Major over towards that long field. And there's going to be a Iniquity 1-0 up. We can hear some players being tagged up right now. JT just looking to get a better angle. First blood does go the way of Iniquity, though, as Cruel does drop K's. We just hit the minute mark, Major. That's going to be 3v4.
Yeah, Cruel's going on the angle, though. Can he go a kill? Yes, he can. Takes down Scotty. And manages to put them now in a position where they've only got 2 players remaining. So Ben and Decimator are just going to back up a little bit and try and regroup here. But look at number 7. Destroy's going all the way around the back. He might be able to grab both of them potentially here. They are both up in this tower. There's one. Bonk, go back to Horny Jail. You will go Benjamin Wilson. He's going to manage to potentially get another. I didn't think he'd win the second one. And he manages to cause a few blushes there on the side of Xcalibur. It looked as though he was the man that was going to make the play, and unfortunately there, Decimator. That's the thing we talk about when you run that sniper. The risk that you play up close and personal with the pistol, unfortunately, just isn't enough in that occasion.
Oh, that is a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's so difficult to rock the sniping, and obviously if he's not a quick scope legend like myself, it's going to be even more difficult. But Major Cruel is on a 5-0 right now, a 5 streak, joined by Destroy on a 3 streak. JT and Kez with their feet right up right now, just enjoying this S&D from the distance. 2-0 to Iniquity in some style as well. Excalibur finally know it is going to be 2 players again who fall. You said this earlier on, Major. You talked about the potential for teams to get really leathered on this map, but right now Iniquity looking very strong, and Excalibur, you know, you've got to suggest already on the struggle bus.
Yeah, this is looking like another rough round here for Excalibur. And Joel is rocking the sniper, so they're going to have to try and play behind the pick, potentially, that he might be able to get. His teammate in Ben is going to be forced to back up. Can Joel make the play? Or JT's going to spot him, so the information comes through. Just sensing that Kez is over towards that direction. They're really playing behind this pick here, because you can see where the bomb is on the mini-map. It's a really awkward spot for these two to try and recover it, and then subsequently plant it. And with 35 seconds left on the clock here, they are just waiting out for someone to maybe overpeak something here. It looks as though they're going to try and work their way over towards this middle building. But now will Ben check this right corner? You can see Cruel is the man currently tucked away. And now there's 6 in a row. Is he going to get the 7th? Or Ben, he's just going to leg it out of that one, because Cruel now is 1 away from that glide bomb. And if they give him streaks and they lose another round, this is looking ropey.
Yeah, absolutely. He's literally 1 away from the glide. It's so vital as well in a game like this when you've got such a big geography. And again, Iniquity just looking extremely solid. And this has been a bit of a blowout so far. I mean, we've seen teams come back from worse situations like this, but in the main, they've usually at least got themselves a couple of kills on the board. And, you know, some of the games have looked close right now. This has just been an absolute dominant performance from the team in red. And in particular, obviously, we're looking at Cruel and Destroy, 1 away from. Now, we talk about this, Major, all the time. You know, this is the first time I think we've seen it. Is Cruel going to change the way he plays? He's on 6 right now. Is he going to look to get a trade maybe? And because we know how vital the glide can be in a situation like this. They're 3-0 up. They want to consolidate. I'm just wondering if that is going to change just entirely how he plays to get that glide bomb.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's managed to get straight in towards middle building. Check the corner. The man behind him, KZ. That's a huge kill. Takes him off of streaks. No glide bomb is going to come through for Iniquity now, as Cruel goes into the next round. They've still got 4 players over this side, and JT, another important pick comes through from him just to even up the numbers. Back to 3 apiece now. Ben again is just holding this right-hand lane over towards the A site. They do have the bomb in the hands of Kez, and Ben's going to just dip about in the nick of time there. But my goodness, close now. 3 versus 3. Bit of a standoff here, Pablo, and it could be kind of deciding whether to stick or twist with this bomb.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're just struggling to get real solid bomb site control. They know Ben's over towards that right-hand side watching. I think they're not entirely sure where Kaze is, so this could be a big moment. Decimator does look to get the world star. He's going to get tagged up himself, though. Kaze manages to get a kick on Kez, so it's going to be Destroy left in a 1v3. He's going to get picked as well, and that's going to be a pretty easy round on the board as the defuse goes down. Kaze is going to pick it. And with 29 seconds on the board, that was a much better performance. The caution really starting to pay dividends for Excalibur, who've been a little bit kind of, I would say, overzealous in the previous rounds, especially the round 1 loss where they basically just got bombed down and they was just around the map, no real strategy. So nice to see them slow down a little bit and get one on the board, put these guys under a little bit of pressure as well.
Obviously, the man who managed to get those all-important picks, Joel, now managed to put himself back to evens with those type of picks on that one. See if he can manage to potentially get some more hit. Round number 5. It is going to be Boys of Excalibur back on the attacks. Let's see where they decide to try and play this. Oh, Joel spots Destroy, but the bullet is just going to whip past him here. You can see Destroy edging his way up. He is going to tag him up, and Kez, meanwhile, is going to get the first blood. There's a lot of middle map presence from those red arrows of Iniquity. And Joel, is he going to get a potential kill here? Surely he's going to get one, and yes, he will. Manages to take down Cruel, who I think might have had a oh my goodness moment there, because he spotted him, but just didn't even really it didn't monitor in his brain that he was right next to him for a few seconds, so he wasn't able to get the kill. And now all of a sudden, JT last man up.
Yeah, absolutely. Double take moment right there. It's like, wait, are you? Okay, I don't know what to do. JT, though, 2 and 3 right now in a 1v2. Not impossible for the for the S&D legend right here. Someone who knows, very thorough in terms of his preparation for games, and especially for his he does put a lot of effort into kind of scrimming and stuff. So big opportunity for him to maybe do something a little crazy. I think he's probably exposed himself a little bit much there, and it's going to be Xcalibur again with another round on the board. And it just goes to show, you know, they've changed. Lovely mid-map regain, by the way. You know, they've changed the way they've played. They've been less aggressive. They've looked to actually get some control, because that first map was insane, first round. So yeah, bringing it back to within 1. So we talked about the comebacks, 3-0 down, bringing it back to 3-2, and you've got to say momentum potentially with the team. And if Scotty gets involved, this could be a completely different game.
Yeah, so Scotty had a rough start in the last map. It almost feels like they've transitioned kind of going from this map 1 into map 2, where Xcalibur had a really, really slow start, and then all of a sudden they slowly come through. So hopefully they haven't given themselves too much of a mountain to climb here, as they are looking to try and grab another round on the board. But number 8, Kez, he's just going straight in towards that middle section. He's got to be careful, though, on 6 HP, literally just a peanut away from getting dropped. I think Ben might have spotted him. Is he going to go for the peek here onto Scotty? Surely spots the head of him. Going to get some shots in, and the ex-teammates there do collide. Kez comes out on top, and he's going to go for the plant here. So can they manage to get that next pick? Crawl's going to take down 1 onto Ben. So now 2 versus 4. Crawl's going to fall, though, and Decimator is going to try and work his way again, though, with the sniper all the way around the back. Got to be careful, and his teammate falls. So now Joel's going to have to work some magic here. The no-scope isn't going to hit, and Iniquity put another round on the board.
And it's the one we talk about all the time. It makes it so difficult, you know, if you're going to retain the sniper. We've seen from Iniquity, they've been, you know, largely rocking ARs. But if you are going to hold that sniper, you are potentially going to leave yourself in clutch positions. So I think potentially he should have maybe put the sniper down, picked up an AR and an MP40 or something from a player on the floor before he then headed into that 1v3. But even with an AR and SMG, we know how difficult it is to get a clutch in this game, and particularly in S&D, where you've got a map this size and so much information can be gathered. We are going to see this kind of, this very aggressive stance as these two teams look to push towards mid and try and get this mid-map control. And again, Major, expect to see a flurry of kills if these teams do come face-to-face. Things have slowed down as we hit the 1minute 10 mark. JT just looking to get a little bit of a different angle. We do see Decimator getting the first blood, but it's instantly reciprocated by both JT and Cruel. And Cruel gets another one as well, leaving Ben Wilson all on his own and eating Major. That round ended up being so quick, I couldn't even segue you into it. And it is going to be another big round. It's going to be 1 away from potentially taking map 2.
Yeah, they've, again, kind of had bursts, boys of Xcalibur, where they've looked good, but at the moment it just looks as though Iniquity just seem a little bit more efficient when it comes to trading and kind of forcing the pace in stages of this search and destroy. There's been moments where it looks as though Iniquity are kind of going to play it slowly, and Xcalibur kind of play almost right into it by just kind of pushing lanes out kind of single-handedly. And at the moment, they are really, really struggling. Obviously, the fact that Scotty is struggling as well is going to be a huge factor to them. So now in towards potentially what could be Excalibur's last round in this map. And look at the aggression they are showing here. Number 4 in Decimator. Is he going to spot those players? There is a first blood, though, coming through from Casey, so that's a lot better there. And Joel just got a little bit of an idea that there might be a few players here, but you're urging him just to turn around because he's going to get taken down as Kez works his way all the way around the back. He manages to accumulate the sniper as well, but more importantly, he's got the bomb, but it's just pretty much shifted almost, Pablo. Those spawns at the start have now completely 180'd, and now you can see the boys of Iniquity that looks as though they're going to try and plant it from the defensive side, which we don't normally tend to do.
Yeah, it just shows you the geography in this map is just so vast. The teams can plow through each other without getting any real interaction. We're at the 3v3 with 44 seconds to go, and we are going to see Iniquity with potentially with the option to use that sniper. Kay's just going to play the patient game, though, over towards the side of this university. He is potentially going to get any information. And we don't know whether he's sound horn or not, but he might be able to hear that player over inside the building. You can definitely potentially know that player's going to be coming up. JT with a really nice transition and drops Scotty, who's potentially going to go 0-8 in this game unless Ben Wilson is on his own in a 1v2 with 14 seconds remaining to save Scotty's bushes and to keep his team from going 2-0 down. He's going to need to get a couple of big picks. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case in Major. Iniquity ESports looking very, very strong on a Desert Siege S&D, and they're going to back up that first round hardpoint win with a solid S&D win as well.
Yeah, really, really strong performance there from a team that you would expect to be very, very good in search. So JT and the lads, they managed to get that one done. So what a moment there for those boys. They are looking very, very strong. Obviously, Cruel as well, a player that we haven't really seen a huge amount of, Pablo. He's doing very, very well in that search and destroy, 10-3. I mean, there you go. We got another name that we can note down as somebody to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen Cruel before. I don't even remember the name, to be perfectly honest. So really nice to see new blood coming into the scene all the time. 10-3, a great performance. And he played really well in the hard point as well. And right now, going into a Tuscan Control, it's all hands on deck for the boys from Xcalibur Esports, who are just not having a great time. In particular, Scotty, who's just gone 0-8 in an S&D. And don't get me wrong, Desert Siege is a difficult map at the best of times. And when you're playing against such an organised, four-piece as Iniquity Esports, it can get more difficult again. But right now, I think that's one player who needs to step up, regain, put those 2 games behind him right now. Dust off the pad, just dry your hands a little bit, and just try and get back into this, because Tuscan Control is a good opportunity for a team who are on the struggle bus. Especially you get those defensive rounds in play, give yourself that option in game 5, and let's see, just take it step by step.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you've seen, obviously, since the update, Pablo. Obviously, that Bocage search to destroy the bomb sites move, and subsequently on Tuscan Control, the spawns are actually closer for the defensive side, so that A point is a lot more easily contestable right off the start. So it's only maybe 5 or 6 meters ahead, but the timing difference that it makes for the defensive side to be able to push out is actually quite a big difference. So that
they've made it easier to defend Tuscan Control.
They've made it more. They say they've made it more difficult for the attacking side off the rip. Yeah, but saying that, yesterday, the games that I actually observed for Vengeance, they did look very, very good on the attacking side. So you never know. With this new change, we'll obviously have to see how it goes with these 2 teams. But one thing we can say for certain is that Iniquity definitely look like a very, very solid core 4 at the moment, because they definitely do. They're putting Xcalibur kind of through their paces. I think the connection that you see on the side of Iniquity at the moment, and kind of the understanding they've got as a team of 4, definitely seems to be there in a few more stages ahead, I would say, of Xcalibur at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They just seem, I would say, 15% faster, 15% better at executing strategy, and just a little bit better in terms of trades. Especially, we saw that in that Desert Siege S&D. They just played, and those trades aren't just about classic Call of Duty strategy being relatively close. That's just really good communication as well. So another factor that might play, and you just don't know where Xcalibur are in terms of their comms. So that is another factor, and that's going to be something you've got to take into account on a Tuscan Control. But again, with all these changes, you've got to ask about the map design. They've somehow made the defense even stronger again in a Tuscan Control, where we very rarely saw. And how many times did you get to say yourself that the break has been, the serve has been broken in Tuscan? It's so rare, it's such a surprise when it happens. Yeah. So that's an odd one. And then we get this Bocage S&D change as well, which is baffling to me again. And we know that the bomb site being indoors was odd, because it was definitely designed with trophies in mind, and then they've clearly cocked trophies up. But to have it outside now, where it's just so easy to be watched from 3, 4, 5 different positions, this is going to be so much more difficult for the defending side. So yeah, it's crazy plays. Interesting to see how this changes strategy and how it changes the focus in these 2 maps. And it's good that they're back to back for us. If we do see, by whatever miracle, Xcalibur take this map and we get into that Bocage hardpoint, it's a hardpoint, never mind, I'll start again. I'm not feeling too good, mate.
It's alright, mate.
But yeah, either way, Tuscans, why couldn't it just ask them to swap it to a Berlin hardpoint Bocage S&D? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm really intrigued to see how this change in the spawn and Tuscan Control really affects the strategy and thinking of teams. I mean, if it's more difficult to get A, are we going to see the thing that we saw in the previous weeks from the top end teams, where they would send a player or 2 to B to get 1 tick, and then that kind of kerfuffle allows them to get an open A site? Has it changed over to ticks now as well?
Yep, it's ticks now, so it's no longer kills. So obviously that's going to be the kind of a more of an incentive for the attacking team to throw bodies at the hill, because they can just think, right, we've got nothing to lose, we might as well just go for it at this stage if it doesn't look like we're going to get it. So yesterday, Vengeance, when they played it, they sent, I think, 3 or 4 players pretty much slap bang straight over to B, got the progression almost instantly. And I think the spawns have slightly changed on the defensive side, so I think it is a little bit harder for them to get over towards the B point from what we saw before. So I think that's kind of the balancing behind it. I say don't shoot the messenger. I think that's how it's going to work now. Obviously,
where are they spawning closer towards like backfield now then?
Yeah, so I think they spawn closer to field rather than just always spawning at that back tank unless somebody is there. I think that's how it's working now. We'll have a look anyways. We'll blank canvas. We can take a few notes, see how this one plays out. If that is to be the case, and it makes the attacking side a bit more easier, it will just kind of bring less of an expectation to think, right, well, defensive side's going to win this. We're going to see a 3-2. It's going to be the defensive side that holds, unless, because it's usually one where you sit there and you think, right, well, unless one team is absolutely battering the other team and obviously miles ahead of them in terms of gun skill, it's usually a round 5, especially if it's close. This round 5 defensive side wins 99% of the time.
That's been our life on control since it came in, really, hasn't it? It's very rarely that we've seen attacking teams prosper, so this should be really interesting heading into this Tuscan Control. Obviously, the big problem for the Xcalibur boys is Scotty going to pick up his pad and get involved in the game? Because right now, I wouldn't say he's holding them back, because obviously in the hard point he started to warm up and they look like a good side. Then in the S&D though, completely different kettle of fish. And don't get me wrong, he mightn't be an S&D player by any way, shape or form, but right now I think that's one player, if he gets involved, it's a different game for Xcalibur. I think there's far too much resting right now on the likes of Ben Wilson, who had an absolutely phenomenal hard point but just carrying a little bit too much on his shoulders. And again, if you're going to take it from the Iniquity side of things right now, it's just carry on the way you've been playing, because right now you've been absolutely awesome.
And well, here we go. Here's a 4-man push right off the rip. They are going all the way over to the B site. It looks as though Ben, you can see he's going to be backing up Joel. Holy pre-fire. Well, he knew everyone was coming from that side, and he manages to crack Kez straight across the head. But already you can see the presence of players over towards that point. But a big kill comes through from one player in Scotty, and it looks as now it's going to offer them an opportunity to at least get the contest through. Can they pick off the players? JT off the top row is going to get taken down, and Decimator, he's going to grab a pick. So now those players, those progression already is starting to come through. But Mr. Ben Wilson, big couple of kills from him as well, as he's looking to tag a couple of players up. But JT trying to stay alive, he won't do it. But that first tick already on the board.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to talk about how important ticks are. If you're not going to get B at all, you've got 1. If you get A, you've got 4 ticks. That's going to be huge when each round's potentially only going to give you that 6-tick advantage. So that could already be huge for Iniquity, you know, in the longer game of things. So a big moment there, huge kill towards the back as well. We saw JT and Ben Wilson go head to head, but again, that's allowed them to get it, and already looking stronger at A as we see that final tick about to come down. They're going to give themselves Major as well. Almost the maximum amount of time to get that final 2 ticks on B. And while they've got a slender life disadvantage, this is looking very good for Iniquity.
Yeah, it looks as though around the back is probably going to be the opportunity here. Again, Ben with the Volk of one engagement against the previous teammate, Mr. JT. So a couple of previous teammates coming up against each other. JT, though, who's going to decide against it and actually go on towards the point. But Joel is just locked up in that power position on towards the top plat. So those purple arrows, they have just considered that those players might be working a different angle, and Scotty is now going to grab a couple of picks, and Casey's going to grab one as well. So already those life counts are starting to go down just a little bit. 5 to the good for the boys of Xcalibur, but as we know, this is where it starts to get a bit difficult, Pablo, because when they start pushing out these lanes and stopping those players from transitioning over, but saying that, there's the door. It's now open, and Iniquity, they're going to start stacking this.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly where we're talking about. The difference in this spawn point is going to come into play. Right now, they're only a handful of seconds away from grabbing that second one. It is going to be a nice defense, but again, it just not able to stack the point. Iniquity had 2 players who were just a little bit too far away to get involved, but they were so close to getting that second tick. But it might be the first time that we've seen that might be a disadvantage to the defending team spawning out so far away. Right now, we've got another player, number 4, absolutely destroys Ben Wilson. We've got Kez just making his way around the back. This could be a huge kill, as he's got, I think it's Decimator just up top, looking to get some more control. He's going to look to try and control ramp. I think he's about to fall onto the head. Oh no, he's going to be on Decimator. Scotty with another kill. This is insane plays. Scotty got such a massive 3-piece before as well, but 8 lives, plays 16 Major and 40 seconds to go.
Oh, Kez just thought he had him dead and stopped shooting, and his old teammate in Scotty made him pay for it. So that's a bit of a ropey one there for Kez. But again, 33 seconds left on the clock, but the more worrying thing for Iniquity is that life count, as another player is going to fall. Kez is going to drop. So now they've only got 1 additional respawn. 26 seconds left on the clock. They're going to have to try and regroup here, because they've got 1 last go at this one for sure. And now, can they make the play? It is going to be a little bit of a spread out approach here. They are just going to wait before they regroup. And there's the first pick destroy. Going to open up one opening. On towards the point they go. 2 players now on it. Can Scotty make the play? No, Crawl's going to shut him down. Those red arrows. They've got control of the hill, and this is exactly what they needed to do. They're now stacking it. 3 players makes it 4. Oh my goodness, look at that clock. It is going round and round. They get the B point done almost instantly, and Iniquity prove exactly why you stack the hill.
Yeah, that is. I mean, this is almost this is the second shout to defuse the bomb. Like, if you've got like even a breath of an opportunity to get onto that hill as a 2-man or a 3-man, you stack that hill because you can catch those ticks so quick, and that is going to be huge in the scheme of things. They do exactly what you like to say. They break that serve, they get around on attack and round on the board. And we said this, coming into the game, and Iniquity Esports really just needed to carry on, despite the fact that what we talked about going into the game. Scotty actually managing to go positive. Well, unfortunately, Iniquity Esports just looking really, really strong. And again, it's that play and destroy 7 and 6 with going absolutely off. And that is a monumental moment. And right now, a lot looking great for Xcalibur as Kez looks to go on an absolute tear right now. But Major, this is looking very much like a 3-0 unless Xcalibur can pull something big out the magician's hat.
There you go. That is prime Kez. That is just flying at players. We saw him do it all the time in Cold War. He's had a bit of a struggle in Vanguard by his standards. I think he would have been expecting a lot better individually from himself, but it's good to see him again as he's now on a 5 streak, and at the moment he is running absolute riot. Commentator's curse, though, he will fall, so he won't manage to work his way up towards any streaks. But now JT with a couple of picks. Looks as though those purple arrows are going to fly down this side over towards Platt, and Scotty's going to get the pick to allow them to maybe stop the timer just for now. You can see that A progression hasn't really come through for them as of yet, and the kills really struggling at the moment for the boys on the attacking side, as it's still going to be a 5-life deficit. Joel is going to look to try and restore a bit of normality here as he gets a couple of kills, potentially one onto JT. Nice shots there from Joel as he looks to try and command a bit more map control for him and his team. But at the moment, Xcalibur, Pablo, they do have that lone man over towards the A point in Casey, but again, he's going to fall, and this is looking a little bit difficult, especially just in terms of time.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at 30 seconds. They're already on a 4-life deficit. Right now, the slaying power of Iniquity coming through as well, although Ben Wilson is going to do his best to try and even things up. Again, a 4-life deficit, though, 26 seconds remaining. Not one full tick on either A or B. And right now, looking very weak in terms of killing and in terms of control. So, Xcalibur a long, long way from getting around on the board right now. They have finally got someone to sit on it, but the time is going to go back. And Major with neither a tick on A or B with 16 seconds remaining. This is not looking good for Xcalibur in the attacking round.
Yeah, and a quick shout out to Declan with the raid. Thank you very much, buddy. For a few of those. Thank you very much, man. Hope you are well and your stream went well as well. So, you are just hopping on board with this guy's Iniquity. They're looking very, very strong here on the control. They've been very, very good all series long. 2-0 up. KZ is going to manage to grab a couple of kills, and that might be the breathing room that they need just to get this A point done. It looks as though Iniquity are just going to resign to the fact that they've got that A point completed. Now, these next kills are going to be big. Ben, is he going to snap onto JT? Oh, he's going to tag him up. Again, another opportunity for a kill there to come through. But Ben, just stop shooting. The Volk isn't going to be enough on that occasion. And now, with 1 minute on the clock, Iniquity, they've just got to try and hold strong here. They are still spawning over towards that back tank side with Destroy and Cruel just located here. And he's going to go on the chase here to take down Scotty. Cruel with one, looking for another one as well, as Casey is in kind of no man's land here. And now, with no respawns, they've got one last crack at this again. Let's see if they can do what Iniquity did in that round prior.
Yeah, and we've just seen how difficult it is. You've got to get picks, and we already see Kez dropping Scotty, so it is going to be 3 players. We have got one in the back, though. It is going to be Kez in the back, and he has got an opportunity to come around, but it's going to be a 2v10 situation with 29 seconds remaining. This is not looking good for Xcalibur, and he's going to get shot in the back by Destroy with the handgun. That's going to leave Joel Decimate in a really difficult position. 20 seconds, no lives left. Iniquity go 2-0 up, so an attack and a defensive round, doing it in both ways essentially, and they get 1 away from a 3-0. And we're going to be made to eat our words again in a minute, mate. We said this is with the potential to be a game 5, but right now Iniquity Esports just looking superbly strong in comparison to Xcalibur.
And Mr. Higgy in the chat, how are we, Higgly? What a handsome man! What a handsome man! Good to see. Higgy's a prime example of put the work in and the results are through for you. What an absolutely beautiful man. Love seeing him at the moment, how he's progressing on the game. So Xcalibur at the moment, this is now really do or die for them here. And again, it's going to be a flood of red arrows over towards that B point. And more importantly, Kez and Destroy get the kills. So now again, an opportunity for them to get that progression and potentially stack the hill. It is going to be 3 players on it. That first tick's now done. Can they get into a position quick enough here, Xcalibur? Because at the moment, they are really struggling to react to just these players located on the hill. You can see there's going to be another kill coming through for Destroy. He is going to get taken down. Kez, though, looking for the trades, takes down one again. He's not going to be able to push himself any further on towards streaks. But wow, yeah, you mentioned it, Pablo. That progression over towards B is already a big, big dent in the side of Xcalibur, even in the early stages, really.
I mean, honestly, the pace that Iniquity were going at, someone must have a date or something, because they absolutely flew through tiles and just immediately stacked 1 kill. Don't care about, get on the kill and get the stack in. They've got the 2 ticks towards B, and they're looking absolutely solid right now for an extra tick towards A. They're probably going to get the maximum time in order to get that 1 tick over to B. So Iniquity just flexing the muscles just a little bit. They've looked solid throughout the first two games. They did look about 10-15% better, but this has been an absolute flex in terms of just their slaying power, map control right now. They are just, I mean, I have no idea what that player was doing at the back of the map there. He looked like he was having a wee or staring at the wall or something. So wild from Xcalibur right now. They are being put to the sword, Major.
Oh, and a big shout out as well to Jacko for the raid and the sub. Thank you very much, Jacko. What a man.
Wow, that's
on
beautiful
the
from
casting
you,
grind as
Jacko.
well. If you haven't checked out Jacko's channel, please click on his name and drop him a follow. He's on the grind as well as the rest of us, so thank you very much, Jacko. But now, at the moment, tell you what, Kez is being an absolute menace on the map, and there's another one for him as he's just flying around. Pure confidence, it seems, though, at the moment, on his back. And at the moment, Iniquity, Ben is going to manage to just about get a couple of kills. The pre-fire is actually going to take out 1 as Ben looks for 3. And just when they needed him to come up with a really big moment, because it was looking bleak for the boys of Xcalibur, Ben Wilson with a big 3-piece.
I mean, this is the other problem we've talked about, is the reliance on Ben to get 2 and 3 pieces across all these games, particularly that first hard point, has been insane. And when you've got slaying power on the side of Iniquity by the likes of Kez and the likes of Destroy, who's been absolutely huge in this series, that's a little bit too much to ask one player. Xcalibur probably just needing to kind of all the other 3 players really to step up. I suppose that's unfair to say to maybe Decimate right now, who's gone 18 and 22, but they're just Iniquity, the speed and pace they're playing, the accuracy being absolutely disgusting at times. We've got 3 players pushing 17. We've got 1. Kez is absolutely flying on 19 and 13. Right now, though, it does look like things have started to settle down a little bit for Xcalibur.
Yeah. They've
got themselves a tidy 7-life lead, and with 29 seconds remaining, mate, I do think they're going to get one on the board. Or inferring maybe some miracle that might happen.
Yeah, and oh, apologies, I missed Frags. Thank you very much for the sub, Butter. Butter?
WBK.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, oh man, hype train is close. Jesus, thank you very much for the support, guys. So now, JT, we know he's good at clutches, but 1 versus 10 with 6 seconds on the clock is not looking very positive for him at the moment. And Iniquity, they will drop their first round to Xcalibur. Finally get one on the board. It is on that defensive side, though, Pablo, so it's a positive moment for them, but now they've got to kind of do the more difficult part of it in taking that attacking round. And it's going to be one where you're kind of thinking, right, if they can potentially get some progress, kind of like what Iniquity did over towards that B point early doors, that's probably going to be their best bet.
I mean, the question you've got to ask yourself is, are they going to go hedge the bets and try and get the standard A ticks down, get those ticks under their belt? Or are they going to try and risk it? And it looks like they're just going to go straight for the A. And you can kind of understand the mindset, like it's the easier ticks to get, give themselves the maximum time, try and maybe get this into a TDM. And I don't think it's going to play. We can already see players like Cruel on the flank looking to get picks. They've got no one watching their back. So right now, strategically, not looking great for Xcalibur either. Decimate does respawn, able to get a few picks, but again, that's back in the control of the boys in red. And when you've got solo gunfights going down between Kez and Scotty over to the other side, they're retaining control of B. So right now, Major, 4-life deficit, and there's a minute on the clock, and it's still looking very, very positive for Iniquity Esports.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Crawl goes around this corner, he's going to see quite a few purple arrows. Well, there's one. He shot the one leg of one player, but didn't realise the whole gang was going to be there as well. And JT going to look to potentially mop up a few players as his teammate in Destroy is just watching over the back of him. Potentially grab a pick here. Oh, there you go. Scotty surely going to be dead to rights. And yep, there's another kill coming through for JT. So life count looking a little bit bleak now. A little bit of a pre-fire there coming through for JT. Casey's going to go for the chow, but he's not going to get the pick on that occasion. Destroy, though, still lurking over towards this point. Destroy with 1. He's been a menace all series long. Isn't going to be able to grab any kills for that one. But at the moment, it looks as though it's kind of a bit of a... It's a bit of a messy round so far from Xcalibur, you feel, Pablo. They've had opportunities to kind of stack the hill. It looks as though now finally they're going to kind of get away with kills. But it feels like every time they get close to it, whoa, well, there you go. They just get chopped down time after time. And with 25 seconds left on the clock, this is not looking good at all.
Yeah, when you've got players like Destroy, like Cruel, battling for 1 and 2 pieces and occasionally getting 3 pieces, and JT pre-firing mid and just doing so well, it just makes it so difficult to be able to get the stack required. And this is the other problem they face is, we've seen strategies where they get where you can have 1 player on A and then push towards the B just to hold the time. Well, they haven't even been able to do that. Ben was on a 5-speed then. Imagine him getting a glide just like that. It does look like they are going to get that drain back, so they're going to make it even more difficult for themselves to get that 8 point. JT just draining that back to 2 ticks and make the kill feed looking very, very bleak with 6 seconds to go for Xcalibur Esports.
Decimate. He's got to work some absolute wonder here because he's just got to hold the time up to allow his teammates to get on towards the point. There are going to be a couple of them there as the bodies fly through. Decimator, big pick, big kills, and oh my goodness, Xcalibur, I'll tell you what, they called it close, but big work there from Decimator, just playing his life, just delaying it long enough to allow his teammates to get through, but now 8 lives on the board, make it 7 now as Kez is going to get a pick. It looks as though Cruel again is just going to be working these lanes to try and pick up a couple of flanks. They've got to be careful because Kez, he knows these players are here. Are they going to check the right corners? Kez with an important pick again to lower that life count even more. Down to 5 they go. And now it's looking really, really bleak here for Xcalibur. Scotty is going to be on the flank himself, though. Ben picks off one, but now no respawns remaining. Scotty surely got to make the play. There's one on to destroy. Over towards the point he goes, and Scotty, hello. There's a big couple of kills. But now with 25 seconds remaining, they need to get someone on the point, and they need to get them on it quick. Can Scotty make the play? Oh, no. Kez is going to shut him down, and now they're only down to 2. KZ and Decimator. Can the duo that we've seen time after time clutch up be able to do it on this occasion? It's now all on Joel. 15 seconds remaining. 1 kill he will get. He's going to get shot in the side, and that will be that. Iniquity, fair play to them, Pablo. They looked consistent through that control, and they look consistent all series long, and rightly so. They come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I mean, you've got to say testament to great comms there. At times they just looked unstoppable, and at times it looked so incoherent, but when you see them, you can almost see the comms and the strategy. You've got, you know, you've got Kez over towards kind of top tiles. He's inside. He's told, you know, someone's told him 2 players. Cruel tells him 2 players are coming. He deals with one. The other player looks to back up. He gets dealt with by Cruel, and then the other 2 players to push through tiles, they get dealt with by the player over towards B point, and it's all about comms, and they're so effective, and that was proof in the pudding really in the Desert Siege. 6-2 in Desert Siege entirely comes down to great communication, and that has been the difference maker, I would suggest, between these 2 sides. Again, Scotty on the struggle bus for a large portion of this game had a much better control, but it was too little too late as they come under the cost from a very, very strong Iniquity Esports.
Yeah, so there it is, confirmation guys, 3-0 to the boys of Iniquity. Not a scoreline that either of us would have predicted, but fair play. Those boys looked very, very strong all series long. And oh, there you go. Speak of the devil, he shall appear. Ray Dean wants to suey.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Suey. And thank you very much, JT, for the sub. What a handsome man. What a handsome man. Can't wait to see that man land and give him a big old peck on the cheek. But yeah, guys, that is going to be that for us this evening. A big GG's there to both teams. It takes 2 good teams to make a good series, and it's going to be the boys of Iniquity that come out on top in a 3-0, what we didn't call necessarily, but good performance there all round and individually, kind of, I suppose you would say, Pablo. It was kind of the opportunity for them to really put themselves on the board really at the start of this season. It looks as though they're a solid outfit, this team of 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of positives for Iniquity to come away with. They look really good in respawn. They've got 3 players there who just are absolutely disgusting in respawn. And when you've got JT pulling the strings in S&D, but I mean, really, do you need anything else? They just stay solid. If they can remain together as a 4 for at least the next few weeks, that they're going to be able to produce some great results. It wasn't entirely, you know, all doom and gloom over on the Xcalibur side. Again, a little slow to start. Probably just need to work on some strategies and work on some correct pushes on a few of the different respawn maps. Get Scotty flying again, just maybe get him warmed up, make sure that he's doing all the right things pre-game. You've got Ben Wilson. He looks so good, and at times he's holding that team together on his own. But again, you know, some great individual plays from the guys in Xcalibur. Obviously Decimated as well, playing well. K's at times playing really, really well. So I mean, you said it earlier on, you can't write these guys off. It's first game, you know, we expect to see them, you know, potentially scrim some teams and then come back strong. This team should realistically be able to put a few wins together. Again, it's early days, but huge plays from Iniquity, major 3-0, and we said, you know, this is looking like a 3-2. How wrong we were.
Yeah, and in the grander scheme thing in ACCL, one man who's going to be coming back on the stick for the LAN tournament is going to be Mr. Dave, so we're going to drop him a raid. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. If you could hop over to Dave's channel, show him a bit of love. I'm pretty sure you probably know who Dave is. He's been around the COD scene for a very long time, and he's going to be back for the ACCL LAN, so another goat that we can cast over. But GG's there to both Xcalibur and to Iniquity Esports. That will be it, though, from myself and Pablo this evening. Thank you very much to everyone, all new and old, who's tuned in, and obviously all those beautiful people dropping subs and just making love in the chat. Thank you very much, guys. But we will be back probably tomorrow for some more ACCL games. Let's be real, we're here, we're part of the furniture now at this stage. So thank you very much, guys, and we will catch you tomorrow for some more Call of Duty action.